Oh yeah, does Houdini have the iteration thing where you could just like make a node group or whatever they call it there and just like loop it?
I think.
Yeah, you can drop almost anything into a solver system, and like it's yes.
And what
To
does
answer your
solver
question
mean?
broadly, it iterates over time. So like it'll build on the previous frame. So you can set a solver to fetch from a previous frame, and then you can build like incredible effects based off like iterative growth, propagation, all sorts of stuff. It's just yes.
See,
You know, I thought it'd be a funny idea to do a Blender tutorial and then at the very end append like a very quick Houdini, how to do it in Houdini as a slow transition.
Slowly transitioning your channel from a Blender channel
CG.
I have
It's what I want, but
to a Houdini channel.
CG. I did say that when you disconnected a bit there. I don't know if you could hear us, but basically everything that you're asking for can be done with Python in Blender anyway, if you really know how to do it. But
listen, I don't want to write the code. I just want to put the blocks in order, you know?
yeah.
Spoken like a true creative.
I mean, that's what nodes are. It's like an artistic coding. Well, what's it called? It's like artist-friendly coding.
Visual.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
visual programming.
Visual coding.
yeah, it's like the blueprint
Yeah.
system in Unreal.
I can't wait.
What Blender has that is just so powerful is its shading. Block-based shading, node-based shading is outrageously good. It's cooler than Maya. It's cooler than Max. It's so awesome and so powerful. Like it's kind of, I guess it's like the commercial competitor would be like Substance, but it's just that awesome. And Houdini has something similar where you can go in and do stuff like that. But Blender makes it so easy that if they propagated that out to like all sorts of other things, like everything nodes, I don't know how long we'll wait for that. As you know, their developers are working tirelessly at it, but it would be phenomenal. And it's just that one section of Blender is so good that if it propagates out to the rest of Blender, it'd be outrageously cool.
Yeah. I would have done more with animation nodes, but honestly, I did one video on animation nodes, and it was one of the most frustrating videos to provide support for, because like everyone was having so much trouble installing it and finding the right version and that. And at that time, like I think they were still setting up the animation nodes website thing as well, so you had to look in really obscure places to get the right version. And I was just like, no, I can't be bothered to deal with it. Let me just wait until like this is integrated into Blender. And we're still not there yet. But
yeah, that's precisely why I haven't like started the Houdini channel and rolled it out yet. The same reason. Like it's no.
Do you think you'd have to do a lot of like technical support if you did like a Houdini channel?
I don't know, because the Houdini community is already like, I don't want to compare Houdini to Blender. It's apples and oranges. But I'm seeing what I see with the technical demand of answering questions based on Blender, and you take that to the next level in Houdini. But the Houdini user base is much smaller, and it's like these are the guys that drive Bugattis. Not in a literal sense, like they don't go out and spend $2 million on a Bugatti Chiron, but they're like they've been around, and it's a different. I think it's a different. Like these are more seasoned 3D artists. I don't know how many beginners are picking up Houdini right from the start as their first 3D package. I know one in my life who's a novice 3D guy, and we're teaching him Houdini, and he's doing pretty well. But he has like basically like a side effects a side effects certified trainer pretty much teaching him. But it's a different mentality. It's a different world.
You're just smarter than us.
Certified trainers?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if he's actually certified. He said he was almost certified. He knows of everybody at SciFX, but I don't know. So yeah, they do have certified trainers, like Blender does.
Yeah, cool. I don't know Houdini at all. I've seen videos. I just haven't touched it. I don't know if it's something I want to get into quite yet, to be honest.
I feel like every artist kind of wants to learn it, but it's so daunting.
Yes, that's how exactly how I feel. I'm scared is what it is.
Yeah.
How do you learn it? Is there a tutorial community for that?
There is, but oh my god! Like, I was lucky enough that I work in a place where we had an entire group that was two groups that were just using Houdini from the start, and they came from like prisms, and when we broke off, and Alias went one way, and so one group was using Maya from the very beginning, and one group was using Houdini from the very beginning. And I was the guy who's like, hey, do you want to come over to our group and learn Houdini? And I was like, yes. So I went over, and I was lucky enough to actually get, a group that was using it for, 15 years that just showed me everything. But if you started with the very, very basics, you kind of have to understand 3D at its core, like, because Houdini uses 3D graphics like at its core. Like this is what a point is, and it builds from there. And you could use Houdini as like just an artist, like a Blender guy could sit down and learn Houdini, but you're not using Houdini the way it's meant to be used. So getting into that level, it's almost like somebody described it, it's not even the Bugatti. It's like you're getting an instruction manual how to build a Bugatti, and you're getting all of the raw materials to build the Bugatti, and that's like what's in front of you. So like, yeah, you could build a Chiron right there and go 0 to 300 miles an hour in 6 seconds or whatever it does. But like you're getting it's an entire like manual and instructions and all the raw materials. Whereas like Blender, Maya, Max, Cinema 4D, they're all like you don't have to get under the hood. You never have to understand what's really happening under the hood to use it and get really nice results right off the top. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, totally.
That's what I'm struggling with. So,
it sounds like it'd be helpful to understand like more. It's less abstracted, is what you're saying.
Yes,
like computer graphics understanding would help to fully make use of the software.
Yeah, like I on my desk at work, I have a stack of books. Like I have the RenderBand Companion, I have John Vance computer graphics, mathematics for computer graphics. I have just a ton of different things, and all these technical books that help understand these concepts that they teach in Houdini, or that's useful in Houdini. But it's a different world. That's all I'm saying. It's not fair to, like, people try to compare what's better, like Houdini or Blender. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you just want to go in and quickly model something? I would say Blender all day long, unless you understand how to build stuff in Houdini really, iteratively and procedurally, which is really powerful. But if you just want to go and build like a car model, just use Blender. It's cleaner. Yep. It's easy. Not easy. Easier. Yeah.
Well, easy once you know the software.
Yeah. Once you know exactly. Yeah. It's disingenuous to say easy because there are beginners out there that don't know how to do it, and like here's like this jerk on Blendernest going, yeah, it's easy. No, it's really not. I mean, it's difficult, but you can learn it, and it's a much more forgiving software package for beginners than something like Houdini, where you're getting all the nodes and everything's procedural and everything builds on everything else, and it's different. I don't want to like steer people one way or the other, but it's a different ethos. Yeah, I'll use the word ethos because it's probably the best thing I can think of.
I anything to get the Blender viewers to leave Blender is good with me. I'm so over it. Blender's dead. Nobody can accept
We're quitting. We're leaving.
Wait, do you think Blender's dead? Actually,
I think that I wish I could make tutorials for Houdini. That's just where I'll put it. I think Blender, Houdini will never be practical for 99% of people because most people don't know multivariate calc. Like that's just it. Like if you tell people a point is like a list of 3 numbers, X, Y, Z coordinates, maybe they'll get that. But then if you keep building on and on, the area of a face is cross product of this or that, nobody knows what you're talking about at a certain point.
Is that what you mean by Blender's dead?
Calculating normals. I mean, understanding that a point can have normals.
Yeah, let's be honest. Most people don't even know what normals are. They're like, oh, I can make something look smooth or flat. But they have no idea what it is.
The best thing about normals are the normal memes where they just put the color on a family and they say it's a normal family. That's the best thing about normals.
I tell you what, Blender's actually really interesting with Python because Blender's forcing me to try and be more low-level technical with everything, because there's no collision detection. So if like for the city scatter tool, for example, to get buildings not to intersect, really I just did the cheating method, which was the easier one of just having like a set proximity threshold for all of the objects and then add the proximities for transforms we already used in a list, and then check against all of them when you create new things, so you know that things aren't, close enough to each other. But that's really inefficient. And if they had like a proper collision detection system, maybe it would be better, but then you'd have to write your own. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There is a way to do it in Blender, but the thing is nobody knows what's going on. Like, technically, you could use Voronoi texture to do that because the way these points are generated, they're non-intersecting already.
Yeah.
Right? But then you have to use, like, displacement maps and all this to make the buildings instead of real geometry. I bet Houdini just has a scatter point node, and then you just to each point you parent a object from a collection.
You can.
That's it.
You can also.
There's a copy sop. It's awesome. Copy to points. That's the surface operator. It's awesome.
Talking about
broken.
There is an add-on called Blue Noise Particles that. Have y'all heard of it?
No. That's cool.
So it's an add-on called Blue Noise Particles. It's free. It works fairly well, but the whole goal of it is for you to make a particle system that doesn't have objects that intersect. It works 80% of the time. And for example, one of the best ways the guy used it was, you have this little hill and you want to put a particle system of some trees on it. And it did it. And none of the trees, their actual base, none of the bases intersected, which is what you want if you're making a really quick particle system like forest. And so anybody y'all watching, check out Blue Noise Particles. It's an okay add-on.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'll look it. Sounds cool.
CG, there is also something you can do in 3D space called a Poisson disk distribution. I'm not sure if people have heard of that or if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
I know Poisson, but yes. And then does that create non-intersecting points or something?
Yeah, it creates a sort of equidistant distribution of points along the surface of a mesh. And MeshLab, the software, has a little operation to do that pretty easily as well. So if you want to generate point clouds, that's the way to do it.
Dude, MeshLab's crazy. You open it up, and every menu has a sub-menu, and it goes 4 times until you find what you want. There's so many operations in that. I will say, though, I know particles, everything nodes particles. I think that's Blender 3, so it's pretty soon. But I think the closest thing is modifiers kind of, in some sense, have the same logic where you chain them in a certain order. And I think they're starting to do drag and drop. I think that was added recently. So you no longer have to click that up arrow to put one above another.
Oh, that's nice. I'm so sick.
I think that's being added.